I am so excited to finally be bringing this video here because the 2024 Honda Africa Twin is finally available in the US and I bought one. So just to be clear, yes, I did buy this. This is not a media bike. This is not a loaner from Honda. This is not a random one-day test ride from a dealer. I went and bought this bike with my money. As many of y'all know, I owned a 2022 Adventure Sport DCT. Absolutely love the bike. It's probably the one bike I regret selling. But now I went with the 2024 Adventure Sport, which is significantly different, which we're going to talk a little bit about. But this is going to be the first of many, many videos to come on the 2024 Africa Twin. I only have like 16 miles on this. I rode it to the gas station. That's it. I actually had it sit in a garage for like 4 days. I just got back from a long ride on my 300L Rally, and this has just been sitting there. So it's been teasing me. So again, I really haven't ridden it much, just up the road to the gas station. So we'll go on that first ride today, talk over some things I noticed already. And this is really just that raw first impressions. And again, if you want that deep dive, like should you get the new 2024? What's the differences from the old ones to the new ones? I'm going to really be able to fill you that in because again, owning the previous model as well, and now getting this one, which is significantly different, I'll be able to share a lot of those insights with you. And let me tell you what, the first thing I noticed with this bike, even before the 19-inch front wheel being the Adventure Sport, which we'll talk about when we go for a ride, is the seat height. I've heard that, you know, the Adventure Sport is lower, they adjust the seat and everything. Now, right now, the seat is in the low position. I'm right at 5'11" with an inseam of right around 33 inches. And this seat is in the low position. And I have a crease in my legs, if you guys can see that there. I'm sitting on the Africa Twin and I have a crease in my leg. Who would have ever thought? This is incredible. All right, so now that I am breaking out in an absolute uncontrolled southern swamp sweat here, I finally got the seat adjusted to the high position. This seat is a pain in the butt to adjust. It always has been, even on the old ones. You gotta position the locking up here, here, and in the back. It's an absolute pain. But anyways, the seat is in the high position now. I'm gonna swing my leg over here, get that kickstand up, and now when I'm sitting on it, you can see that arch is just there, slightly, very mild. I just feel like I have the bike locked in for me a whole lot more. So the cool thing, again, talking about that low position, if you've never been able to flat foot or have that confidence when you're on an Africa Twin, putting in that low position, you're going to be able to now. Like, there's no question about it. And putting it in a high position, it's that perfect position for me. When I put my feet up on the bike, it's right there, kind of locked in. And then over here on the shifter, again, it just feels perfect. And I think it's going to suit so many more people than it previously did. Now, I want to talk about the aesthetics of the bike real quick. As we can see, they changed over the graphics, which I still think it looks really good. I don't know. Personally, I think the 2022 graphics looked a little bit better. I really like the graphics on the base twin where it's got the little mountain right there, the red one. This doesn't look bad, but again, I just prefer the other one. Now, coming down here, one thing I noticed, again, I'm coming from Triumphs and stuff, and we know Honda, a lot of their decals are just kind of sticked on, which is kind of up here. It's just that sticker. They used to have the sticker up on the fender or the fairing up here. That's not up there anymore, but a lot of these are just stickers right there. Coming over to the gas tank, you can see it's actually into the clear coating. And then same, well, yeah, back here, no, that's actually, let me see. Yeah, that is actually just a sticker on as well. So I really like how Triumph, KTM, I've noticed all of their decals are into the paint, kind of like on the gas tank here. I wish Honda would start doing that because rocks and stuff coming up here, even on my previous ones, they would chip and ding those. But again, that's just kind of nitpicking. One other massive thing, which I'm not sure if you can see in the camera, maybe if you look up here, there is a lot of sparkle. The pictures online don't justify it. So I'm trying to give you some multiple angles here in the sun, but even over here where it says Africa Twin, anywhere where it's white, heck, even down here on this, there's just a lot of sparkle in there. I'm not a big fan of that. I kind of wish it was just a flat white, because again, when you really hit it at the right angle, there is tons of sparkle. Now, one other thing that I noticed on this bike, and I don't mean to be nitpicking or complaining here, but again, I'm an owner of this bike, right? I'm not gonna fluff it up. I'm gonna give you my raw feedback. And again, I'm not nitpicking. I love the bike already, even the little bit I've had. But one other thing I noticed that just kind of drives me nuts is we're looking down here at the wheels. You got the cool tubeless spoked rim right there, that wheel. And then coming up here to the shocks, that gold or that bronze, it just doesn't match. Like the wheels are gold, The shocks up there are bronze. The previous model they matched. And then coming up here to the handlebars, you got that gold again. So it's like gold, gold, and that bronze. I wish they would have made the forks up there the same color as the wheels. It's just, it's mild. It's not deal breaker or anything like that, but it looks a little weird if you just sit there and look at it. Now, taking a further look over the bike, you can see the shock in there is blue. We got the electronic suspension. I forget if the old one had a colored shock or what, but it's got that blue in there, which is a really nice little accent. Coming up here, this is something different. So you still got your turning lights, and it's 3 stages, I believe. Same windshield and all that, but you got these little crevices here which come through. I don't know if that's for cooling. And again, it kind of goes there and up into the inside. So we're gonna have to see how that plays off-road. Is it gonna let debris come up in there, or is it gonna let some better airflow? I'm not too sure. Again, I think a long road trip will really tell what these are gonna do any good for us. But as far as the airflow, you can see it still comes in, comes out there, and then it shoots out. So I don't think we're gonna have any heat troubles on our legs. Coming over here, you can see I actually went with the manual version. My previous one was DCT, but I said, you know what? I'm going to get the quick shifter for this, which I'm going to talk about later. I honestly thought it came with the quick shifter because I watched a couple of those promo videos and I was misled and I didn't do my research. So I'm going to take the fault for that. But I thought it came with the quick shifter, $300 accessory, and it's definitely going to need it. But I really enjoy a quick shifter, you know, as much as I love DCT. But it does not come with a quick shifter. So anyways, that's a video for another day. So even that I had a few nitpicks there, again, as I stated before, I'm not trying to rip this bike apart or, again, hate on it. I absolutely love it. I'm a Honda fanboy, an Africa Twin fanboy, as you guys notice, right? Even though, again, this isn't a media bike or anything like that, I just want to make it clear that I absolutely love the Africa Twin platform and Honda bikes, right? Just so we're out there, right? You know I'm giddy. But even though I love them that much, I want to let you know the pros, the cons, the goods, the bads, the good lookings, and the uglies, right? A true raw owner's feedback, spending close to 20 grand on this bike, you know what I mean? So I want to give you that raw feedback, and that's what we're going to do right now. Again, only 16 miles on this. I'm sweating uncontrollably here. So we're going to fire up the bike and actually go for a ride and talk about some of those first impression characteristics.
All right, so here we go on our first impressions ride. Might have to call this second impressions because I did just do 50 miles of a ride, but my microphone didn't pick up any of the audio. Yet another day in a life using action cameras. So anyways, we're on take 2 of our first ride. But I think this is gonna do even better and make this even better because a couple things on my first impressions, the 50-mile ride, I caught myself going back and forth and kind of thinking a couple different things as I was riding. And as we're on the back roads here, just riding, I want to kick it off with the seat, talking about the seat. When I was just giving a rundown of the bike, I mentioned putting the seat in the higher position, and I was thinking, I was like, okay, this feels better for me because, again, the bike is kind of locked into my position. Again, 32, 33-inch inseam right at 5'11". And I was flat-footed, but my legs were fairly straight, maybe a small crease. But, you know, when I started getting on the road and I was doing that first ride and I put the bike into the low seat, man, I felt so much more confident, more at like stop signs, stop lights. Again, if I was on a hill taking a turn at a stop, I just felt so much more confident with this massive bike in between my legs, knowing it was just locked in there. And again, if it accidentally felt like it was going a little to the left, I had extra space, extra leverage since my leg was already, you know, had a nice bend in it. So it gave me a whole lot more confidence. But the other thing about it is when I had it in the high position, it really felt like I was sitting on top of the bike. When I put it back into the low position, it felt like I was more inside of it. And that's the vibe I got from the 2022 Africa Twin with the 21-inch tire. This with the 19-inch tire, again, it's lower and the dimensions just feel different compared to the 2022. That 2022, again, I felt like I was inside. I don't know if they did anything different with the dash or the layout. But again, when I put the seat in a high position, they did add more foam to the seat. So that could possibly be what I'm experiencing here. And I felt like I was on top. In the low position, I still don't feel like I'm in the bike, but I feel like I'm on the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally or Rally Pro. If you sat on those, that's what this feels like. But mentioning that, while we're on highway going 70 miles an hour, the wind blockage is still great. Nothing's getting on my legs or my waist here. As far as the windshield wind blockage, let me put it on cruise control, get up speed. You still got to adjust it with two hands, and we'll pull it all the way up, and you still get about the same wind blockage. Nothing really, it takes it off the helmet. Like right now it's off the helmet, but I still got a lot hitting my arms over here. Let me take it back down to the lowest. Okay, so what I noticed right there is now I hear the sound in my helmet, and when I pick it up, well, I only went one notch there. Again, I lose some of that noise in the helmet, which is definitely nice if you're on highway speeds. But if you remember, or if you watched any of my 2022 videos, I upgraded the windshield. I bought quite a few, actually, tried a few different ones. The best one out of all of them that I tried was the Givi, and I cut it down, I believe, 2 inches. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. And I also put the wind deflectors there, which I'll also do on this one. But again, it looks different here. I don't have my 2022 to compare one-to-one, but again, I remember it was different right here as well. So I don't know if they changed it and lowered all this stuff, because before it truly felt like you were in it. Now, let me lower this windshield again. I feel like I can really look over it. Before I was looking into the dash. It almost felt like all of this was up here. Oh, that bird, gee whiz. It felt like I was looking into the dash. Now I feel like I can look over it. Again, maybe it's that little bit extra they put into the seat. So that is one big difference I noticed right away, is again with that seat height. Even me at 5'11", putting it at a low position, wow. I mean, it's nice. I really like having that extra peace of mind that I can put my feet down and really have wiggle room. Not necessarily just flat-footed, because I can flat-foot it in a high position as well. But having this wiggle room is nice. But now what I want to do is take us on a little off-road test, even though we had the more touring-oriented one, which we'll talk more about that 19-inch front wheel here in a second. But coming in here, you can see I got my user mode set, and I don't believe it saves this. As far as ABS, you got on-road and off-road. I honestly don't remember if you can turn ABS off on the Africa Twins. I always leave ABS on, even when I'm off-road. It's just a nice peace of mind. I don't like squealing my back tire, especially with a massive bike like this. But as far as traction control, you come down here. It's also set to favorites button right outside of the gate or off the showroom floor. So anyways, I like it set to that. So even on 1, it's still going to bite a little bit. Same with like the Transop used to do. But anyways, you come down there and we're going to hold this button. And bam, traction control is off, which is what I like off-road, even on a big bike. So it's not just like, you know, we got a lot of washout here. Let's go and get riding and we'll talk about this. But our roads are washed out with a lot of soft gravel or sand even. And again, when you get that traction control going, it really, right, just like that, like traction control would have been bonkers right there. I don't know, I turned traction control off. But did you guys just see that? The traction control light flashed. Okay, that was really strange. Let me see if I can get it to do. There it goes. There it goes. Okay, let me angle this camera and make sure you guys can see this with me. All right, watch. I'm going to gun it a little bit. Traction control just kicked on. This is very strange, because traction control is off. The light's right over there. But if I make that back tire spin a little bit in its gravel or that washout, it still kicks on. So the back tire spun out. Wow, that's crazy. So I know they updated all the ABS and stuff like that, but this is weird. Let me know down in the comments if you know why that's doing that. I don't remember that ever happened in my 2022 Africa Twin. Again, traction control's off, right? You see it right there and right up there. but it was clear as day clipping on. Now, it wasn't interfering much, like even right there when it clips on a little bit, it's not interfering. I don't feel the bike struggling for power. Interesting. You know what? I did not notice that in my first impressions, first ride. Right? Since now we're on the second one. Really interesting there. So please let me know down in the comments if you know why that's doing that. Whew. I do not like going into turns off-road with big heavy bikes. And you know what? Side note, let me show you something here. This is something else I want to talk about. Let's go on and come to a stop and let me get off the bike. So now that we're off, the other thing are the tires that come on this bike. So these are the Bridgestone Battle Axe A41s, A41R or whatever. You know, on my 2022, I stated I didn't like the tires. You know, these tires are definitely more road focused. I mean, look at all that padding you got all the way around it in the turns. It's really a road tire, you know what I mean? I wouldn't even recommend these for this type of stuff. Even coming around here to the front one, you can see we're not even talking 19-inch here, okay? That's not even what we're talking about. We're just talking about these tires. Like, this is clear as day a road or a touring tire. You know, I'm probably going to put the Battle Axe AT41s, the same ones I put on my Triumph Scrambler, and they're very similar to the ones that came stock on the 2022 Africa Twins. They're kind of slotted around like that, and again, it gives you that consistent bite through stuff like this, but they're still good on the road. These are definitely more road focused. So good tires, but not for what I want. And talking about what I want, this is going to be the extent of my off-roading. This right here. This will be really the kind of off-roading I'll do, is basic fire roads like this, nothing aggressive, lots of touring, and then again, off-roading like this. That's nothing major, but I still want a tire that will bite and give me some confidence in the corners and catch on to some sand. Like right there is just a little sand patch, and I felt the bike just move around. And when I get to higher speeds, like right here, yikes, anything above that, I feel that back tire going, dancing around a little bit, which you feel a lot. So okay, so let's stand up and let the bike do what it does, right? I mean, I still feel it dancing around. And with the big bike like this, I'd like, again, a little bit more confidence. I'd like that back tire to catch on a little bit if it could. And again, I know tires will make that improvement for just simple off-roading like this. I don't need anything crazy, no knobby or anything, just something that will get it done. Now, one other thing I want to check here real quick while we come to a stop coming on off-road is, will it save traction control if I change user modes? Do I got to come to a, no, there we go. Okay, so we're on user 1. Let's say if I come down here to off-road or gravel, I'm just going to cycle all of them, and we'll see. So yeah, traction control will stay off, but it will not, if I remember correct. Let me see. So we'll turn the bike off. When I turn it back on, I believe traction control will be activated again fully, all the way to the full. And of course, we still have that long loading screen on the Honda Africa Twins here. Awesome intro, really awesome intro. But and then we're gonna get our warning here. I think that's because we got Apple CarPlay and stuff. That's why it's telling us that. So, oh no, it put traction control at the lowest, 1 notch right there. When I get on the road, I always put it on full. But again, it doesn't save traction control. Oh, I'm in neutral. I'm over here trying to go home in neutral. But I'm sure that's a safety thing, right? You turn the bike off, so at least you got some of that traction control. Now I want to touch on that 19-inch front wheel. Going through just basic back roads, a little bit of twisting here and there. And with the amount I've ridden this bike with that 19-inch front wheel, oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. This is what I've been wanting in a bike. All of my bikes have really been 21-inch front wheels, and even with my 2022 Africa Twin, and you feel that thing, especially if you're touring, going on long distances, you got a truck gusting by you, it's a windy day like it is today, you just feel it. It's just, you know, bobbling around just a little bit. A truck comes by you and it bobbles around. And this one is multiple things coming into play with that 19-inch wheel. More contact down there, obviously. The bike's lower, so the weight is lower and everything. And all that just meshes together and makes for such an incredibly planted ride. And I absolutely love it. That's one thing I did not like about my 2022 is with that big old front wheel. It was just a handful when you went out touring. Like, you felt it dance around a little bit. And let's be honest, a 21-inch front wheel, like, sure, we all think we're, you know, these awesome adventure riders, you know, but the majority of us with these Africa Twins are doing touring and simple off-roading like I just did right there. And when I first got my 2022 Africa Twin, I had big goals, big ambitions. Right? I'm going to do this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And wow, once you drop that bike and you got to pick it up a couple times, you realize, okay, no, I'm not going to be doing that anymore. But I love this platform for touring and stuff, and that's what I started doing a lot with my Africa Twin, moto camping and such. That's exactly what I want to do with this. And again, riding back roads or highways with it so planted, the wind blockage, it does it phenomenal. It really does. Now let's go ahead and talk about power real quick as we jump back on the highway. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Let me slow down. Let me slow down. I don't have the bike registered yet. Again, I just recently got it and today's a holiday, so that's I don't want to get in trouble on the holiday without a registered bike before anything, you know. But the power of this, it's amazing. I know they tuned the engine up a little bit. It's going to be hard for me to say it's this or the other because my 2022 was a DCT and that had plenty of gusto already. But with me now getting the manual version here, it's two different beasts completely. Like riding them, the DCT to the manual, I absolutely love and swear by DCT and recommend it high and low. Let me let this car pass us, and we're going to take a turn up here to get on some more back roads. You know what? Talking about windy and this bike being planted, it's an incredibly gusty day because we got a storm coming in, super windy. And I'm just riding here with, you know, one hand chatting with my hands as I always do. But my gosh, it's just so planted. It does not shake, budge, or anything. It's locked in. And again, it just feels so good. So back to the power. And again, me not really being able to tell you, hey, does it feel better than the 22 or the previous versions? Again, I'd be lying if I said, oh yeah, it feels this, that, or the other. Because again, I had the DCT. And I want to chime on that real quick with my time with the DCT. I love it. And again, if you're in a big city, Atlanta, right down there in Florida where you got that stop and go traffic, hands down, all day long, get DCT. You'll thank me later. Don't listen to all the people hating on it, saying it's a scooter or whatever. DCT is some amazing technology, and I hear they made it even better on the new ones. I didn't ride it, but even before, I loved it. So why did I get the manual here? Well, after riding my Triumph with the quick shifter and stuff, I really love it, you know. So you don't get the hand fatigue. You can just pop the quick shifter, which I thought this one came with it. My fault. I was watching one of the promo videos and I thought it came with it. I should have read about it, whatever. I still would have got the manual and just paid $300 for the quick shifter. So in my area, we don't really have much traffic, a lot of back roads like this. And again, I pretty much stay in the gear and I go, and I have a blast with the quick shifter. So as much as I love DCT, and again, I highly recommend it, don't get it if you plan on doing primarily off-roading, which if you're getting the adventure sport, you're probably not. But if you get the base one, you can stretch that one out a little bit more. It's a little bit slimmer, mildly. It's like maybe a T7 with a bigger tank, right? And I was talking to my buddy about this the other day. I said, man, don't even bother with that T7. As awesome as the bike it is, get the base Africa Twin for $3,000 more or 4,000, whatever it is, more than the T7. You get Apple CarPlay, you get cruise control, you get tubeless tires, you can get electronic suspension, which your price is going to go up even more. It's just such a better bike, so much more bike, so much more versatile bike. But I think if you go with the base one, your mindset's going to be, I want to do a little bit more serious off-roading, maybe mild off-roading. Go with the manual. Don't get DCT if you like off-roading, because you're just going to whiskey throttle. You hit those divots and all that, you pull back like that, and it is the most nerve-wracking feeling ever. Oh my gosh, I hated it. I whiskey throttled and went off into the bushes before multiple times. I couldn't stand it. So that's the one reason, or one area I would say scratch DCT and go manual. Woo! Okay, we'll slow that down a little bit. But what I can tell, I'm not sure if you guys could hear it with all the wind and everything, but the exhaust has a lot more bark, a lot more rumble, a little bit more body into it. Now, the 22, it definitely came to life after 1,000 miles, which I'm sure this one's going to come to life even more. But man, just riding it, you just feel like you got more rumble. It's really, really nice feeling there. I do wish there were a couple things on this, you know, just riding it. Number one, I wish they would have made the windshield one hand, but I get it. It's Honda, something Honda does, right? It's a safety thing. But I think, you know, I know people bash me in the comments or say stuff, but we're all going to take our hands off it and go like that with two hands, right? So even though it's a safety thing, it's going to make us do stupid things. Deny it if you want. We're all going to do it. You know what I mean? So I wish they would have made it maybe just one lever and activate both of them. You could just adjust it. So, you know, that would have been something nice. I think the thing I would have preferred even more, which way should I go? We'll go this way. We'll jump on a little bit more highway. Gosh, even going slow speeds, it's just so balanced. Whew! I probably shouldn't be riding it that hard with only 70 miles right now. I wasn't even really riding it hard. I kind of pulled it up to 6,000 there. But wow, it is so linear and perfect. The clutch, it's got that firm feeling. The throttle is perfectly balanced throughout it, and it just feels natural, right? I used to rave and praise how y'all turn right here, back on the back roads. I used to praise how great the Triumph throttle and clutch combination is. It's just like perfect, you know? That is exactly how this feels. Now, again, I had DCD before, so I'm not sure if the old ones felt like this, but I can just tell you right now, like, I don't feel jerky. I don't feel like I'm trying to fight for a sweet spot. I release it, I get some throttle, and it's just a balanced release, and it feels wonderful. So back to what I was saying, a couple things that I would have liked. Again, that windshield bit. The other thing, and this is something I mentioned on my first one as well, is I wish these controls were backlit. It's not that they're hard to control. I'm incredibly used to them, and I think they're easy. You got your track skip, you got your menu. Half the time you're not using all of them. You know what I mean? So you got your track skip, you got your favorites button, your lights, your heated grips, and your function, and your cruise control over here. It's simple. There's your turn signals. Everything's where you honestly need it. People might look at it at first and think it's overwhelming if you go ride it for a couple hours, right? But when you own one and you actually get hands-on, it's perfect. It is perfect. Again, you're not messing with every single button all the time. You're not messing with the touchscreen all the time, right? The base controls that you need are right there, and it works.
Okay, so we're back from our first ride, wrapping up our first impressions on my owner 2024 Africa Twin Adventure Sport. I love the bike. If you stuck through this first impressions video, you can catch the vibe. I absolutely love the bike. I mentioned before, I love Honda bikes, and I absolutely love the Africa Twin platform. And no, I have no association with Honda whatsoever. Sure wish I did. Honda, if you ever want to fly me out to an event, hit me up. We'll work together. Want to test some bikes? Hit me up. We'll work together. But anyways, with this being my bike, that's why I wanted to give you the pros, the cons, and that's what you're going to get through this entire series whenever I do the review. And again, as far as my first impression, some people may think I was nitpicking it as far as the forks being bronze and then the wheels being gold. It's just, man, they both should have been gold. That's probably the one thing that eats away at me a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I want to turn around and look at this beauty all the time, but gosh, that just drives me a little crazy. But the coolest thing I think about the new Africa Twin here is it opens up the opportunity for so many people to get on the Africa Twin now. Honda hit the nail on the head doing it this way. The base version being more off-road focused, the adventure sport being more tour focused, because that's what people used. And now with, again, it being lower and more accessible, more balanced, the wheel, the seat, the height, so many more people can finally get an Africa Twin and enjoy it. So bonus for Honda, they're going to sell more people are going to be able to utilize it. But more importantly, that so many people that wanted to ride an Africa Twin before were intimidated by it. Trust me, go to a dealer, swing your leg over it, ask them if you can put the seat in a low position as well, and you're going to be like, holy smokes, I can actually ride this now. And that is the coolest thing about this bike. And it does exactly what I want. Again, I'm going to use my 300L Rally for my off-road, my serious off-roading. This is going to be more of my moto camping or touring adventures, you know, long distance road trips and stuff. It does and feels exactly what I want. But of course, this is the first impressions. I'll let you know some pros and cons, some things I don't like, some things that I notice. I'm going to do a full review again once I get to 1,000 miles or maybe the first service after a long road trip, and I can really truly speak on some things. Heck, some things might change. Like right now, the seat has already changed as I talked about that, right? I'm also going to do a ton of mods on this bike, as you'll know. Probably put some crash bars on there, even though I'm not going to do any serious off-roading, but I want to keep her purty, right? And I'm going to put my fog lights up there and all that for road riding. I will be putting hard luggage on the back right there, just setting it up for long touring rides. And eventually I might change the tires. Not sure if I'm going to do that right away, because again, I'm not going to be doing too much off-roading. But my point is, we have a lot of coverage on this bike. And again, coming from an owner, not a media bike, a loaner bike, or a dealer bike. So you're going to get some raw feedback here. And if you want to, again, stay tuned for that, I'd highly appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell, because those videos will be coming. And if you enjoyed this one, or if it was at all helpful, please hit that thumbs up. And again, don't forget to subscribe, and I hope you catch you on those other adventures. Bye now.